we live in a world where what's good is considered to be accepted as immoral, and what's bad is accepted to be as moral. This is particularly true when you think about the subject matter of racism. To dehumanize or to degrade someone because of their cultural background or their ethnicity has become so widely spread and normalized within particular parts of the world, considerably white parts of the world, like white America, and perhaps some parts of Europe. This has been perceived to be acceptable, despite laws being passed, despite several interventions to try and protect the Black community, or even other communities which may experience racism. These barriers, these laws, and these foundations, you will always find that they are being consistently oppressed and attacked by whites, so that they can feel a sense of supremacy and gain. And the only way you come to this realization is through your own research or even through your own proof. It never is a subject matter that people are willing to talk about, because we have been instilled with fear. We have been instilled with fear for white people, despite the fact that biological evidence proves that Black genetics are actually stronger and have far more potential, and can withstand circumstances in life that our white genetics would not even last a fingernail at. We find ourselves always questioning ourselves. Why is this practice of racism being so heavily accepted? Why is it that people are continuing to dehumanize Black people beyond the experience of animals? You could see an ant walking on the road, and you would leave that ant alone. You could probably even see a squirrel crossing the road, and you would leave that squirrel alone. But when the white supremacist sees a Black man, for some reason the white supremacist feels the need to harm that Black man. And then when the Black man points the finger and calls him out for the oppression that he experiences, the white person turns into a victim, and paints a normalization for justifying their racial behavior based on the color of the Black man's skin. And this is something that needs to be pointed out, and the main way you can point this situation out is to deal with the facts. It is a fact that white people accuse Black people of false crimes and things that they do not commit due to their inner guilt complex situation of how they ironically have committed worse crimes against Black people, from the brutality of slavery, from several subject matters oppressing Black people through law-enforced orders, despite the fact that the Black people have done nothing to these white people. You will find that the Black people always end up on the bottom, while the white people attempt to climb to the top at the expense of the Black people. And it's through this research, or just through this factual knowledge, that you realize the criminal is painted as the victim, and the victim is painted as the criminal. The criminal being the white supremacist who has benefited from hundreds of years of slavery, brutality, and lives at stake, takes the life of the black man, and uses it for their own gain. And then when the black man tries to call that white person out, the white person resorts immediately to playing the role of an innocent schoolgirl, or an innocent gardener, or an innocent painter, claiming that they were minding their own business, knowing that the black man has been critically outnumbered, particularly within the western parts of the world, and certain parts of Europe. And the main reason you don't find yourself realizing this, or coming to the general realization that racism is prevalent, that racism is still a covert and openly practiced doctrine, is because of the fact that the government, the federal law, and the white collective as a whole have actually gone so far to normalize the behavior, and to truly impede on the black man's rights towards ethical living, and particularly impacting the black people as a whole, always looking for somebody to oppress, because that is exactly how the foundation of white economies was ever brought to reality. It always came from the oppression of blacks, who built the foundations, who worked in the fields, and ultimately led the infrastructure of the American world, and received no kind of compensation, no kind of reward or benefit beyond the poisonous acts that these oppressors continue to apply on our people. And this is the devastating truth here. It makes you wonder, why is it that even when the black people have come through the power structures, through education, or even perhaps through business, through finance, whatever the case, why is it that we find that these black people, instead of contributing their wealth and their knowledge, or even their experience, perhaps even something as little as a visit to the black community, you will find that they do nothing more than try to seek the same status that the white people have for themselves, by mingling with whites, by adopting the personality of whites, and completely throwing their roots, being as a black man, to the cause of where everything truly transpired. And it's not until you realize that this is only normalized with one group of people. It is only white people who hold the belief that they are superior. However, the best way to counter these people is to point out the facts. They claim that they are economically superior, but they are not superior to the Chinese economy. They claim they are racially superior, but if you look at the reality of the situation, white people are most likely, and as a matter of fact, if you look at the population of Africa and even the population of China alone, white people are critically outnumbered due to these mass populations of people who exist. The only way they can make themselves look like they are better is by oppressing these masses, as they have done through history, by always looking for somebody to point out, to single out, to isolate, and to truly see how they can always benefit. It is always about them. It's really like dealing with a toddler, like dealing with a 4-year-old. The only way they can get what they want is about them. And this is sadly the type of behavior that Black people have to tolerate, if they choose to tolerate it. You can definitely be amongst one of the Black people or the oppressed people who transcend the situation by completely leaving the white people to drown in their own miserable acts, which has clearly impacted the lives of many other people. And you, as a Black person or as a oppressed person, can go about and lead your people towards a more ethical way of living, something that the whites have failed to do, despite claiming their supremacy.